Hello and welcome to the Problematic Sticker Podcast. I'm your host this week, Chille. Well, I don't know why I said that. I've been host most weeks recently since Neil left. We miss you, Neil, still. But with me this week, we've got a sexy beast, Tim.
What? Where?
There, right there.
Oh, you said sexy. Hang on. I'll recover. Hey, Ben.
Hey, man. How are you doing today?
Better now.
Have you
Had a lot of
enjoyed
peculiar
any
proposals
animes?
in the last 5 minutes.
I know,
Huh?
some weird proposals that would all need
We all
quite a
need.
few of those.
Yes, all the stickers.
Yeah, all of the stickers. That's why we had to delay the podcast like 5 minutes so I could go out and buy more stickers.
Your sticker machine is just down the street, or what?
Yeah. It's next to a butcher that you think now lives at my house.
This situation is getting really sticky.
But is it run by werewolves?
No, but it does serve werewolves, Klauss, which you can buy at Scarborough. Hey, Klauss.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm Peachy Keen. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Have
And
you?
I'm glad to be back, guys.
We missed you.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, thank you.
Did
It's good to be back.
Did you have a good week?
I actually did have a pretty decent week. We got a new patch in Final Fantasy XIV. I've been playing a bunch of that.
Oh
been
my
playing
God,
some
we did?
Overwatch.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk all about it on twitch.tv/Phoenix on radio.
But no spoilers.
No spoilers, not until the next episode.
Yeah. But we'll go around with our spoilers.
Because they're moving around.
Yeah.
And they don't listen to nobody.
Yeah. Plus, it will be.
But no, other than that, watching lots of anime and anxiously looking forward to talking about it with you guys.
And I can't wait to talk about the Bleach movie with you because I heard you watched the Bleach movie.
I did.
And I can't wait to hear your opinions because I didn't mind
You
it.
too have opinions, huh?
Yeah, I too have opinions. I know. Being a video game journalist, we're supposed to be hive minds and not have opinions of our own, but I do in fact have an opinion on this.
Don't let them know.
They must never know. So, you watched animes and played the Final Fantasies and
Yes.
did the Overwatches, which is a good game.
Yes.
You got it for $12, didn't you, on the Humble Bundle?
Yep, and it's still going if you guys are interested in the Humble Monthly Bundle. If you get that until October 5th, I believe, you get that awesome game for $12.
And also remember,
shit.
yeah,
With a whole bunch of other stuff too that'll be coming out. But Overwatch is never that cheap, so if you've been looking at it,
yeah. Remember this
jump
is
on
the
it.
PC version.
Yes.
But also remember the fact that I don't know about the monthly bundle, but the money goes to your charity of your choice, right?
With this one, each monthly bundle, I believe, goes to a specific charity, and I don't recall what this month's bundle goes
Still,
to.
the money goes to
But
charity.
yeah, a good chunk of it goes to charity. Yes.
So yeah, so you're getting a sexy game with Tracer, and you're helping charity, and it's only costing you $12, which is some
Correct.
sort of amount of money. It is. And we've got a Garri with us this week. He's finally finished counting the numbers since last week with his fingers.
Well, it's been fun, guys. You have a good night. I'll talk to you guys next
Oh,
week.
maybe he hasn't finished then. See you next week, Garri.
You fuckers. You little bitches. I hate all of you.
How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm just great. Thanks.
Are you going to go find your buddy Tension?
It's not nice to make fun of handicapped people.
So how's your week been, apart from now?
Oh, my God. It's been all right, I guess.
Anna, if you leave, just put the cat that you're looking after on the mic, and they can
Oh my God.
join us.
Amazing.
The cat is called Eevee, right?
Eevee, yes, and Ezio.
Yeah. So. Oh, by the way, Klauss, did you get any of those Pokemon? I know you didn't, did you? Damn it.
Did
Okay.
what?
That weird Pokemon that turned into a Ditto.
No, I saw them, but I didn't catch any.
What about you, Tim? Did you see any? Tim?
What did I see?
That Pokemon I posted in the Slack, it appeared after the Chikorita event yesterday. Did you see any?
Yeah, I don't know. After I saw you found it, I went and looked, and it wasn't for us, I guess, at the time or whatever. So I just kind of gave up.
Oh.
So they popped up right after the event ended. Any Chikorita that was on the screen turned into one of those.
Yeah.
For some reason, my game was glitching, and I couldn't actually click on any of them. And when I went out and went back in, they were gone.
Boo. Supposedly they still spawn for people, by the way. It's just instead of being everywhere, there's a random spawn. So.
Boo hiss.
But they just turn into a Ditto.
Yeah.
Or a Chikorita.
I think it's just Dittos now. Some people had the theory that the reason why it turned in Chikoritas is because if you fled before the event ended, it still had it in the data that you were fighting Chikoritas, and that's why it turned into a Chikorita. That's why if you actually evolved that one that you caught, it would actually learn the Community Day move, even though the Community Day had ended.
Crazy.
Yeah. For that 30-minute window, you could still learn Frenzy Plant. So. Anyway, you doing well, Garri?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Sweet. And we missed him so much. Now we got to cheer him up some more. We've got some Alfonsos.
Hello, guys.
Hello. How was your week?
Another rough week, but with the support from you and other people, what I'm going through, I know I'll get through it.
Well, we're always going to be here to support you, man. Always.
And I appreciate that. But
We got you,
on
fam.
a better note, on a good note, to answer your question last week, Ben, Shannon did said, and I quote, she loved all you guys, and to further notice, everyone on this team besides me will be number one. She's making me number two because, it's me, but yeah.
Well, tell her thank you.
I will.
And tell her that one week you should be number one.
I never see that happening.
She's so nice to you, Dan.
Yes.
Yeah, you should be number one.
Tell her that the group says you should be number one next week.
And the week after that, and the week after that.
Yeah. Do all of our votes together count as a popular vote, or is that not a thing?
I have to run it by her and see.
Is Garri trying to usurp us because he's like breaking up a bit?
What?
What were
Again?
you saying?
I'm saying that I am giving up my spot for Fonzie.
No, don't you dare do that.
It's too late. It's done.
I think
No, I'm not accepting that.
You kind of don't have a choice because it's already happened.
I do have a choice because I'm sending it back
Not
to
in
you.
Gary's. Nobody has a choice in Gary's world.
Oh my god.
God.
I don't think nobody wants to be in Gary's world.
Oh, sick burn. Oh.
You've never been in Gary's world, so you can't say that.
Rock Garri's world.
Well,
I'm
I
just
heard
gonna
from
go
Tim
over
that
here.
He went inside and then he went right back out.
I think I'll join
Away
you,
from
Klauss.
there. And I think we should maybe talk about anime, huh?
I know, on this anime podcast, maybe. Oh. Sweet Lord, yes.
Before it got too problematic.
So, Boruto, that was on this week. Twice, we found out.
Yeah, an hour-long episode, basically. Well, 2 episodes, but that's they call it their hour-long specials when they release 2 and
Yeah, which means we're probably not going to get one next week.
had episode 74, The Enemy, Ino Shika Cho, and episode 75, The Trials of the Ryuchi Cave. 74, as you guys are aware, basically at this point, Boruto and Sarada were caught by Team 10, who were sent to try and find them and bring them back to the village so they don't end up getting labeled as rogue ninjas for leaving. And so they had a pretty cool fight scene. We get Boruto taking on all three, Inojin, Shikadai, and Chocho, and Sarada is taking on why can I never remember her name?
Was it Mogi?
Moegi, yeah.
Yeah.
One of Konohamaru's old friends from when.
Well, the little
basically
girl that was one of the friends, the trio.
Yes. She was the awesomest of the three, I always thought.
Yeah.
Amazing that she is already a Jonin, though. You know what I mean? And the fact that...
Aren't they all Jonins?
Yes. But the fact that Naruto, while being Hokage, is technically still a Genin.
Yeah. He never got promoted.
Nope. He never passed the Chunin. Well, yeah, he never got promoted on the Chunin exam, and so he couldn't go to Jonin.
Yeah. But
he's Naruto. What do you expect?
I think my favorite thing is the fact that, he sort of failed during that second exam. Yeah, the OVA as well, which was funny. Have you finally seen that now?
I don't recall if I have or not.
Basically, Naruto's told not to use Sage Mode, and then he ends up using Sage Mode.
Oh yeah, you had mentioned that. That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, they had this pretty awesome fight where they end up using some pretty cool new moves to stop Boruto and Sarada from escaping from them. After, Shikadai has really taken on a lot of his dad's traits. He is really calculating. He is able to read the situation, and he knows Boruto. He knows exactly what he's going to do. I mean, they've been friends for so long. He just doesn't surprise him anymore. And after they catch him, they end up getting to the point where they're going to be taking him back, but the snake that Mitsuki had left for Boruto with that message, "This is my will," sneaks out of that little pocket in Boruto's back little protector there, and at that point is when Shikadai learns that he left this message for Boruto, and he didn't just leave. So it's like he knows something else is going on here. He doesn't know exactly what it is, but now he wants to know what's going on, and he decides that he's gonna go help Boruto.
By the way, I feel like Shikamaru planned this all along, and that's why he selected that team, because he knew that. I think he knew that something was going on.
Well, he said that he trusts his son.
Yeah.
Because they're on the same wavelength as to what's going on, and if Boruto gave some evidence that would change their minds, Shikamaru is okay with his son, basically changing the game plan if he deems it necessary, because he trusts his son, and his son trusts Boruto.
Yeah, and they're both incredibly smart.
Oh yeah,
Shikamaru was probably one of my favorite characters.
Absolutely. So he's going along with that, and at that point, Chocho is like, "I'm not going to let you go on your own, and I'm not going to be the one to tell Moegi-san, that we're, that we let them go. So I'm going with you." And then, of course, Inojin doesn't want to be the stuck wheel there, so he's like, "Okay, I'm going to. But if we get caught, I'm saying that you guys drag me along with me." So I thought that was pretty funny. And then we see that one of Sasuke's traveling companions and
Suigetsu?
Suigetsu, yeah.
Suigetsu, these 7 mists.
Yep.
One of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. The guy who can turn into water.
Yep.
He used the executioner blade. if I'm right, it's called.
Yeah. Correct. The Executioner's Blade, the one that we saw early on in the Naruto series. But yeah, he basically distracts Moegi while Boruto and Sarada are fighting Inoshikacho, and just long enough for them to make their decision and then head off. And then she arrives at their position and sees the note left where they said, "Sorry." And so yeah, they had at that point they all head off on their path to find this Ryuichi cave. Now, the next episode was a little bit different, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Basically, this cave is hidden in this misty area, and you really have to want to find it in order to get there.
So yeah, it's understandable. It's like the toad sages. You got to really be looking for it to find it.
Yep, and you have to basically be deemed worthy in order to locate it.
Yeah.
They're found, or they are discovered by these three. Should we call them protectors? I guess.
Yeah.
They're
Guards.
like, yeah, they're like the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And they see these lights in the distance, and this big hotel-looking thing lit up saying Ryuichi Cave on it. It's so gaudy and just absolutely.
Look at us!
Yeah.
Look at this! This isn't a trap at all. No trap here. No trap.
No trap here. Right. And so basically, they're brought in. Said, "Oh yeah, we'll take you to see the white snake sage. Just go ahead and have a seat. We got some food here for you, and
It's a trap."
But it's not a trap. We're here to be we're trustworthy. We just want you to. You're welcome guests, and make yourself comfortable. And they almost got Chocho and Inojin because they were just so hungry. But the gatekeeper lady let slip that asking, saying, "Oh, so you want to go see the sage and talk about Mitsuki, huh?" So he's like, "I never mentioned the name Mitsuki."
Yeah.
And it was that point that Boruto knew that it was all a trap, and if they had eaten the food, they would then be paralyzed, and they would fail the test, and they would be eaten.
Yep.
But because they passed the test, they can't be eaten. So that's good.
That's a good times.
Yes. So they continue on.
I'll be honest.
Oh, go ahead.
As soon as I saw the area, I knew it was a Genjutsu. It screamed Genjutsu to me, especially the mist. Because it kind of reminded me of the old hidden mist jutsus.
Yeah, it was probably something very similar. It was definitely sage jutsu at work there. But so at that point, they get all separated from each other, and Boruto ends up running into another gatekeeper who is basically just teleporting around, trying to draw him off. Draws him in through this doorway, where a giant stone door closes, and he's trapped in there with her. And she's like, "Yeah, well, this is your next test. You need to be able to get out of here. There's a whole bunch of gems. You put the gems in the door, and if you get it right, you get to leave. If you don't and you give up, I get to eat your soul." So he goes through every single gem, gets them all put in there except for one. There is one that he just cannot find the shape that matches. And he is about to give up when he thinks about Mitsuki and discovers that sometimes you have to think outside the box in order to come up with the proper answer. And he sees that while there isn't one that's shaped like this, it looks like kind of like a sideways V kind of shape. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like two pieces that intersect a little bit, and it's a weird W without the middle part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like an L.
Yeah, kind of like an L, but the points don't meet right at the 90-degree point. There's like a little gap there. So what he ends up doing is there's a long piece that he ends up seeing and then breaks it in half, and then the two
felt
parts.
like cheating.
Why would it be cheating? He filled the spot, and that was exactly what he was supposed to do.
They could have just got two, like multiple squares then.
Well, he didn't have any of that size, whereas this particular bar ended up being the right dimensions to fit in there. Just was too long.
That's what she said.
Oh my. Anyway, I was going to make a comment, but I decided not to. I'll be nice today.
There we go.
There you go. Okay, good. At that point, then, as soon as he gets out of there, he is met by the third gatekeeper who bites him in the neck.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm not going to get eaten. Chomp. Ah!
Oh,
But no, this is all part of the
traps.
third test. The third test is going to basically be testing his heart.
Make sure he's,
Not
he really, it's what he really desires.
Yeah. So whatever he was injected with now has him seeing all of his friends, basically telling him exactly what he knows is going on. That he drags them into a lot of stuff. That all these problems that they have are his fault, and that he needs to be more thoughtful of their their wishes and the things that they want to do, and their concerns, and not be so selfish about it. And he realizes, yeah, those are all extremely valid points, but we're here to look after and try and save our mutual friend and figure out what's going on here. And so his drive to actually find Mitsuki, or to see the sage and figure out what's going on here, is overriding that. And yeah, so his will is very strong. And he ends up passing that test too. So he's then granted leave to see the snake sage, and he finds his friends inside the temple there, and they're knocked out. But as soon as he gets there, they all come to, and they find the old lady snake sage, who basically says, no, she's not going to do it, because she's there to teach these batshit crazy people who try and find her normally about snake sage mode and all and the ways of the snake sage.
By the way, I find that weird because she looks nothing like the flashback that Kabuto had when he learned sage mode. Because that was what?
I don't recall that bit.
Yeah, Kabuto went to learn the sage mode, and it was a giant white snake like with a pipe. So I don't know if that, I don't know if that was a anime exclusive thing, but I remember I remember it really well.
Are you talking about like the giant summoned snake type thing? Because that's how Naruto learned his sage mode from the toads, was basically from all of these summoned toads. He went to where they're summoned from.
Yeah, Kabuto.
Whereas I think this is a little different.
Kabuto learned his from like a giant white snake.
From Manda, or someone of that brood.
What? Oh, here we go. I found a picture.
Okay.
1 second. I guess it looks a bit late. Maybe it has several forms, but 1 second.
Who knows? Hard to say exactly what where all this is from, but maybe this might just be one of her humanoid forms, so to speak.
Because some of it looks about the same, but then some of it looks like the pillar behind it looks exactly the same. I'm going to post it in our Discord. For anyone that wants to check out, you can Google just Kabuto Snake Sage and it pops up. But yeah. Look.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that maybe that's her real form.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that necklace in there at all, but who knows?
Yeah. But you can see the background looks a bit like it.
Mm-hmm.
The pillars and that, and where she was laying on looks the same, so it could be that they're still under Genjutsu and she, that's what she looks like behind it. They just can't see it, maybe. You remember
Or maybe
snakes in
we'll
that-
see. We might see more of it though later because her task that she decided to do it if they can complete a task for her, and that's to bring her the reverse scale of a giant snake named G something. No, it's not Garri.
I remember, but don't remember. It was like Garanda or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But apparently he's really ill-tempered and has a whole bunch of other giant snakes around him. So yeah, it's going to be a very difficult test, she says.
Yeah.
And as soon as they head off and go to it, we learn that basically she has no intention of actually doing the job.
No.
She's sending them off to their death.
In fact, it looked like I don't even know if she can do it or not. Who knows? She might be bluffing completely.
Well, we'll find out next week. Like I said, this is I'm enjoying this arc so far.
Yeah, just because it's about, I enjoy it because it's about Best Boy. Anything about
I
Best
do
Boy.
want to see. I want to see more about what's actually going on with Mitsuki. We're really being left in the dark so far as to what's going on. We know he is with this other group of people who look similar. I mean, they're all very, very, very pale skinned and have some very interesting abilities, but we don't know much more beyond that at this point, unless I'm totally missing something.
Well, we know that he's been cloned by Ochimaru.
Mm-hmm.
So
we don't know
if these are
these also clones. Are they what he was cloned from?
Yeah.
You know, hopefully we'll learn more about Mitsuki's backstory, about, you know, where the source material for him and his cloned brethren come from.
I look forward to finding out, to be honest, because again, Mitsuki's my favourite character in Boruto. So, well, him and Chocho. Yeah. And I kind of like, Jin as well.
I mean, Chocho, that not the bit where she was love struck by what's his face.
Yeah, I like the character Chocho, not that part.
Yeah,
because that wasn't her character.
No, that was really. I thought that was a horrible side arc. But that's just me, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, Boruto. Go watch it. It's a thing.
It sure was a thing.
I mean, there's only 75 episodes to catch up on if you haven't watched them yet. You can have that done in an afternoon, right?
Yeah. If you can
Is he
time
right?
travel.
I'm sure Alfonso probably could.
Is he?
Yep.
Tell us.
He's right. Yeah.
He'll watch 5 episodes at once.
I could see him doing that too.
I could as well, because he's awesome.
He's learned the shadow clone jutsu.
No, he just has like multiple monitors on at the same time.
If I learned the Shadow Clone Jutsu, I would do not have to put up with Shannon's shit anymore. I'll be so happy.
Hopefully she didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm a dead man.
No, listen, she'd be like, oh, hell no.
Fonzie, been nice knowing you.
We love you, Fonzie.
Shannon, don't kill him. Seriously, don't kill him.
Just send him my way. I'll deal with him.
Hey! No.
And
Hey, Garri might have been really nice. He did,
No, well, the way Gary said that, he might be a little too nice. No. I'm not going down that road.
the
You
safe
don't
word
want
is ketchup.
strawberries and milkshakes.
Okay.
Well, you're always, the office always open for you to come visit me.
Just make sure to stock up on garlic
Yeah.
and silver bullets.
Well, you gotta remember, guns are illegal here, so you can't really use silver bullets. Unless you're a farmer.
Bring a swing shot and just swing silver at him.
Or just buy a case of Coors Light.
Did you know that vampires are weak to counting? So, if you ever find a vampire throw rice on the floor.
They also sparkle in the sunlight.
They also can't go into your house unless you give the permission. So, yeah.
They're also made of chocolate.
Vampires are pretty much the most useless villain ever now. With all the rules that they've given people. But then, I feel bad. I feel bad for the vampires. If they exist, I feel bad for them.
Well, that's why the werewolves took over Scarborough.
Well, yeah, because the vampires can go out of their house. Or go into other people's houses.
Wow.
Just waited for the sun to rise. I need to get in. No.
What's in fair? This is England.
No.
This is England. When does the sun rise?
One day a year.
Good times. And you know what was also good times this week? My Hero. Yeah, I went there. Parked there, and wrote the episode stuff.
Well, it actually was an interesting episode. It wasn't the standard cookie cutter one where it's all about class
we actually
1A.
Got to see a lot about the villains actually at the start of the episode, where we got to
enjoyed that.
Twice observing the changes in society after All Might had been retired. Noting how, due to the absence and the fact that people don't trust Endeavour because he is Endeavour, that there's a lot more gangs popping up, a lot more rioting, a lot more unrest in society. They need hope with an S.
They need soap?
Yeah. They need soap. Yeah, anyway, he's reflecting on all the things that are going on and realised how the League of Villains is his best place. So, that's good.
Well, he likes it there because they accepted him for who he was.
Yes. Scholar Mania from Street Fighter EX.
His backstory is actually really, really weird. The fact that he's not sure that he is even the real Twice.
Yeah.
When he cloned himself and his clones cloned themselves, and he basically had his own gang going, and then they didn't like that he was the one in charge, so they tied him up, and then they started fighting with each other for like a week and a half.
It's kind
he wasn't
of
sure
like
if he
that. You've heard of that boat. Yeah, the statement about a boat. I can't remember what the theory was called now, but if you bought a boat and kept it for years, but kept replacing bits when it got rotted, and so you had to replace like the side of it one day, in 100 years would that boat still be the same thing? If you replaced everything, would it technically be the same thing? He's cloned himself so many times that he doesn't know if this is still him.
I was thinking about that whole thing though, because one thing we're not sure of is, if the original dies, do all of the clones then disappear too? Or if like a clone makes a clone and that clone dies, takes a little bit of damage and disappears, will the clones that he made disappear?
Like
because if that's not the case, he could be immortal.
Yeah, he could be immortal. That'd be insane if he is, because he's one of the favourite villains, so.
He's very interesting, even though he looks like you said, Skullomania.
Skullomania from Street Fighter EX or Fighting Street, I think it is.
And he's also got, he has basically a split personality.
Yeah.
From the hits that he took while he was, his clones were fighting.
Yeah. He witnessed a villain named Overhaul killing another group of villains. Which, as you can see, even the villains aren't safe right now because they're fighting each other. And then there was a ceremony with the furry principal that kept talking about how his fur is getting a little damaged over the years. And even though he's taking his vitamins, he's getting old. So You know, you got to look after yourself as you get older.
And try not to be stressed.
Yeah, try not to be stressed.
Don't
Relax.
be stressed.
Don't do it. Do it.
And we got a copyright strike.
I'm sure they won't mind.
You hear what they're saying?
Anyway, that was I always like seeing the president. He's awesome. And then we went to the whatchamacallit next, didn't we? The classroom of 1A, where they started discussing a new
Well, the principal had mentioned these basically hero work studies.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was the principal or the guy. Yeah, it was the principal because they brought it up to him. The work studies where they'll be probably working with another hero sort of thing, so they can see how they can, kind of like what they did before, in a way.
But they're going to actually be allowed to do a lot more.
Yes.
It's not just going to they're not going to basically be interns.
Yeah.
This way they'll actually be able to do a little bit of fighting because in order to do this work study, you have to have your provisional hero license.
Yep. Oh, so basically they're volunteering their time.
Yep, it's outside of school time, but is a requirement, I think, for graduation.
Anyway, they brought it up, and then he's like, "No, I was going to talk about it later." And then we find out why he was going to put it later because Midori and I can never say his name, Bakugo, were kept in their rooms pretty much for fighting on the last episode. So
they were on house arrest.
Yeah.
They could not leave the dorms. They were required to clean all of the common areas, and were not allowed to know what was going on in school until they get back, until their house arrest is done. And that had Midoriya all kinds of flustered and frustrated because
he missed a few weeks.
Like,
it's cool.
I'm falling behind. Yeah,
But
3 days, and he thinks he's fallen behind by like a year and a half.
Also, I found it funny that he got out earlier than Bakugo because of good merit.
Well, also he wasn't the one who started the fight.
That's true.
So because Bakugo started the fight, he got an extra day or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, then they talked about the work studies, which we've talked about just a second ago. And then this creepy face appeared in the wall, who kind of reminded me of young All Might. But if young All Might was a Ditto.
Ditto Might?
Ditto Might. Because, you know, when Ditto transforms, he has that weird expression on his face.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of this guy, but if Ditto had transformed into All Might. And had powers of ghosting. And anyway, he appeared on the wall, saying how, people were talking about Midori. Then he appeared in the floor, which obviously means he's a pervert. And then he appeared, and he said, I'll see you later. And then he disappeared. And then we hear about the big three, who turn up later on in the class. And that's where it ends, sort of thing.
And apparently this guy with the face is one of the big three.
Yep. Ditto Master 2000. So, yeah. I'm interested to find out more about the big three. And I'm really shocked at how far this season's going. I would have thought they'd stop by now.
It's got to be ending pretty soon for the season. Because, this is basically a double-length season. I think this is the 24th episode of the season.
Yeah. It's really
Before
crazy.
we wrap up, I'm sorry, Ben, but before we wrap up, we forgot to mention that they did mention another villain, and we finally found out what her quirk does.
You're talking about the woman that transforms?
Yes.
Yeah, we found out about her like 3 episodes ago, I think.
I kind
Two
of
or
teased you
three
guys
episodes ago.
a couple of months ago.
Wait, wasn't it in this episode?
No, it was actually at the end of the exam.
Yeah.
Because she had disappeared. And then we see her walking down this alleyway, and then she changes, and it's that girl who takes blood.
Yeah.
I'm mixing them up. God, just watch.
Is that who you're talking about?
The one she said that she finally got Midoriya's blood.
Yep,
Yep.
that was at the very end of the licensing arc.
Yep. And I kind of teased who it was because I spoiled myself.
That was the same episode when Midoriya was looking at his license, but he took like this crazy, awkward picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where we discovered who the creepy shape-shifting girl actually was, and that the girl who takes the blood can take on the appearance and powers of anybody whose blood she ingests.
Which we saw during the actual hero arc because she used it on, I can't remember the name. Yeah, the one, Amy or whatever. Because we saw her before in the actual the hero exam. Yeah.
What now?
You actually saw
she can use all for one.
She can't use all for one. Well, she thinks she might be able to, but she can't. You gotta remember, all for one has to be. All for one can't be passed by blood. It has to be given. So.
What about one for all?
Who knows about that? She could technically get that, I guess.
So is that why they went after Midoriya? Because they wanted to see if she'd be able to use it?
Yes, they wanted to take her to have his powers.
But why give someone who's so low ranked in the League of Villains such a tremendous amount of power?
Because if she has the power, then all for one can take it off her.
But he already has it.
No, I don't think he has that.
He doesn't have
the
all
only
for
one
one.
that-
He only has one for all.
But isn't it technically the same power though? He just using it
No,
in a
all
different
for
way?
one gates powers. Yeah, it has the incredible strength.
But it takes
Yeah.
all for one takes powers from people and can give them to others.
Yeah.
One for all is a trait that has to be passed on by the person who has it, but it infers that super strength.
But then wouldn't he know that she won't be able to use the power if he can't take it off of All Might himself?
Well,
Who knows if it's
Because
his?
he couldn't
that
take
he
it off
was-
of her master, right?
wasn't the theory that he was actually the one who gave
Yeah, he gave it to them. He gave.
one for all to the first person who had it?
Yeah, he gave it to the first one because he thought he had no quirk. It was his little brother, wasn't it? He thought that his little brother was quirkless, so he gave a quirk to his little brother, and then when he gave it the quirk to him, that's what triggered the all for one.
So then he just wants it back.
Yeah, he just wants it back.
So why can't he just take it back?
'Cause
If
it
his
has to be
power is to
given.
take something,
Yeah,
okay.
it has to be given.
It's the good version of
Yeah.
it's like the opposite version of one for all or all for one.
Yeah.
that's just weird.
Well, that's why they're worded backwards.
Yeah.
And I confuse them too. Which one are we talking about now? It's got one and all in the name.
But anyway, we saw her before during the tournament arc because she transformed into that girl that teased Midori.
But no, she was in the form of one of the students from that high school.
Yep, she was.
Because she had taken her blood apparently and
Yeah.
gotten her powers of transformation.
Yep.
Because those were actually her powers. That's why none of the other students from that high school were suspicious.
Yeah. She got the person's blood and then turned into her, and that's why she got in.
So whatever happened to the actual girl?
Who knows? Maybe she's probably dead.
That would be dark. But not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really overpowered character. Like I'm now going backwards and thinking like they wanted Bakugo to join them. But if they had her, couldn't she just take his powers and then?
Well, we don't know if it's a limited amount of time that she can use those powers. You know, there might be a window that she, while the blood's still in her system, maybe.
Well, yeah, but she still collects the blood. She doesn't use it right away, so they could have just collected his blood and saved it for later.
Yeah, but
it may take a decent amount to actually be able to use the other person's quirk for an extended period of time.
yeah, and if you want him for multiple missions, there's no point having one use. Why have a one use cannon when you can have him multiple times?
Well, if she's just given all these quirks to One for All, I would say.
Well, no,
you
I
grab
don't
it
think
once,
she's going
let
to
him have
give
the
them
power.
all to One for All. I think the reason why she wants all for ones is so that he can get it from her. Hell, he might not even know anything about her. Remember, he's let do what he wants. Who knows
That's
if
true.
he actually knows his plan? He probably knows the gist of what he's doing, but he might not know all the details. He just knows he's got a ragtag band of evil doers.
And the fact that he hates
Yeah,
All Might because of that, he basically allowed his
yeah,
was it his mom or
yeah. Yeah, that's
he took the powers
Yeah.
from her and didn't save her,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Something like that. Lots of things to speculate on with this, but I mean that's what I like about the story is that they're not giving us everything. They're letting us kind of come up with some of the ideas as to where we think they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
And heck, some of the fan-generated theories are a lot more interesting than what the shows give us sometimes.
I mean, the show has given us that weird guy as well now. You know, the weird face ghost ditto guy. I'm looking forward to seeing what his...
Taste Ghost.
Well, he was in
Ghost Facers.
Well, he was merged to like the wall and the floor. I would love to know what his perk is. Yeah, his quirk.
Yeah, you're talking Mirio Togata, right?
Yeah.
He has he's got like an Archie face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what those three are like. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 more left. I think they're going to go to 26.
That's a good
Yeah.
thought. So we got this episode and then the next one. They may take a break. Maybe we'll get 2 this next week.
Maybe. We'll find out next week.
Yes, we will, and we'll talk all about it on the next episode.
Yeah.
But before then,
I can be quiet and sit.
What the hell, man?
no, you can't be quiet. You know that. Chille, you're not supposed to be quiet.
Well, you're talking about Attack on Titan, aren't you?
I suppose.
Yeah, I'd say it's Attack on Titan time.
Okay. Well, you didn't specify that. You just said you were going to be quiet.
You know.
And we know that that's impossible for you most of the time. That's why you're on 27 podcasts.
Hey, I'm on 4 podcasts next weekend. Please be
I rest my case.
Anyway, Attack on Titans.
Garri, why don't you start this so I don't have to keep talking?
Okay, well, I only watched the dubbed so far, so I'm pretty much at the point now where they murdered the people who they hired to capture Eren. And what was the ruler's name? The girl?
The who now?
Get her name.
I'm trying to see what point you're at here.
Oh, the girl who's the rightful heir to the throne.
Oh, yeah. I know. Now I know what you're talking about. Why am I... that's her her pseudonym, but her real name. Why am I?
Yeah, I forgot her real name too.
I'm
Yeah.
looking here.
Anyways, they've discovered that the people the government, I guess we can call it, or the rulers, hired to capture the two of them. They were murdered, and they essentially blamed the murder on the scouts. So they've arrested the scout leader, who's the blonde guy. Have devised a plan now, which will either the government for what it is and announced that she's the rightful heir, definitely force them to give up the throne.
It's Historia Rice, by the way.
Historia, there you go. Or it's going to essentially get everybody killed. All the scouts are all going to die. So their plan now is to pretty much find out where they're hiding her and Eren, and get them to where he's going to be essentially executed. Just like a public square and stuff like that. And they need to get them there right before he dies so they can prove that the government is a farce and that she's the rightful heir and that they have to give up the throne, essentially saving everybody. They're trying to essentially fix all the problems that they're having right now without any bloodshed. So far, it seems to be kind of working, except for the fact that they still have no idea where Eren and Historia are. So it's essentially kind of becoming this race against time now, where they found a witness who is the son of the merchant that was hired to capture them, and he was a witness to the fact that the scouts were not the ones that killed his father.
Oh yeah, Flegel. He was pretty awesome guy though.
Yeah, and he was terrified. He was running from the city guard, and the new leader of the scouts, who was what's her name? She was the lady that got her legs busted up during the fight on the wall.
Oh,
Ed.
man.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to remember everybody for me.
There's so many people in this. But it's very confusing.
She's essentially been given the leader mantle of the scouts since their actual leader has been arrested. So
I think it's Hanche.
Yeah, I have no idea.
She's got glasses.
Yes.
Dark hair.
Yes.
Yep. Hanchi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it's pronounced. Hange. Hanji.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, so Hanji shows up and rescues that merchant's son, and she essentially devises this very plan to essentially put him in direct line of fire of, and pretty much force them to confess that they were the ones who committed the crimes in front of as many people as they can. So they pretty much send him out into like the slums area where the guard essentially believes nobody lives there anymore, because it's in the area that got completely destroyed during the fight with and the female Titan that's been arrested.
Oh, yeah, the female Titan one, Annie.
Annie, where they pretty much destroyed that entire area fighting, and hundreds of people were killed during that. So they assumed that it was abandoned now, but obviously there are still people living there. So they pretty much corner him, and he asks as his final, wish before he dies for them to tell him who really killed his father and why, which they, of course, decide to tell him. And that's when the scouts jump in, take him down, and they find out that this entire area with people still living there, their homes are destroyed and all, but it's their homes. and they pretty much heard everything that they said, and they're essentially building the small resistance now because they now know exactly what happened. And I believe at this point they're hoping that they can get enough people there to stop the execution and throw the government. It's pretty much where I stopped at.
Oh, you didn't finish the whole episode?
No, I did finish the whole episode.
Okay.
But that was kind of like the end of it. I mean, there was the time the parts where they invaded this guard camp, which had all these rookies, and they're interrogating one of the generals there to find out where Eren is. And they also made some friends of these two members who have been questioning what's been going on.
Yep, I know who you're talking about there. I can't remember their names, but yeah, they were initially hunting for the scouts, but they ended up, talking with them, telling them what they're actually doing, what's actually going on, and they believed them. And
the guy was already questioning what was going on. Like, why would they be doing this when they've been saving our lives pretty much this entire time? What's the point of that? And he's been questioning what's been going on, but the lady was kind of like angry because all those homes were destroyed, and she was actually Annie's roommate.
Yep.
And she didn't know that Annie was the Titan. They thought that Annie had been killed, or the scouts like captured her to torture her for whatever reason. And that's when they explained that Annie was the one who actually destroyed the city, and she was the Titan that they had captured. Which really opened up their eyes and kind of made them their side, and they helped them find this camp where this general was that they believe would be able to tell them where Eren and Historia are.
But the other thing that they learn is that they're going to be executing Erwin in a public hanging. So it's at that point
the leader of the scouts.
Yep, and they need to go and basically save him.
Mm-hmm. And he kind of gives himself up willingly, and I think it's because of the fact that he needs to have this happen for his plan to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's trying to have this plan work without spilling any blood whatsoever. And of course, they talked about these guys hunting the scouts, that serial killer dude with those crazy gun pistols that they have,
Kenny.
And yeah, they started questioning, like, a lot of townsfolk and like the media guys are now questioning, like, why is this random squad appearing now? This weapons useless against Titans, but just obliterates humans. Like, all too coincidental that all this stuff is happening now. That Eren has the power to control other Titans. So a lot of people are kind of questioning what's really going on with the government and stuff, which is pretty interesting. But
yep, and it's going to lead to some really interesting storyline. I'll just say that right now.
It's been interesting to me. As much as I hate the storytelling of that show, like, so far, season 3, I think, has done the best because they're not focusing on like 5 different stories at once. It's just this one story of Historia has been kidnapped with Eren, and they're trying to find them.
Well, there's kind of 2 concurrent stories going on right now. There's the whole story with the Rice family, which you'll get more into. Like I said, I've watched a few episodes ahead since I'm watching the subbed version. And then there's this whole coup that they're trying to plan. So
yeah, but so far season 3 has been very low key on the actual Titans, and it's been definitely more about overthrowing the government, or this coup that they're trying to.
It's a little more political.
Which, in a way, I'm actually enjoying more, because the whole Titan thing, all they've done with the Titans is raise questions and haven't given us any answers, realistically.
They're coming. They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah. So.
Winter is coming.
Actually, it is. Sooner than most want, especially here in Minnesota.
And moving
So
along.
I'm gonna have to rewatch 42 then next week, just so I can make sure to be caught up to date.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. It's like I said, I haven't watched the last 3 episodes just because I don't want to get too confused by it. Because like I know things that have happened already, and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah, because like season 2 was just too all over the place for me, and it really killed the story for me. I'm glad season 3 is kind of sticking to a pace at least, and not just jumping around too much, I should say.
So yeah, for those of you listening to us, if you want to catch up, we'll be doing 42 next week.
Maybe I'll watch the subs. We'll see.
Ooh.
I mean, I watched the whole first season in subs before they decided to dub it, so I was fine with that.
It was also
But that was before I was at work.
Well, you know. Is that Attack on Titans finished?
Yes.
Yeah.
So one could say that we could talk about Gunslinger Girl.
Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about Bleach real quick?
Oh, we'll end with Bleach, I think.
Okay, that works. I just wasn't sure what order you wanted to do it in.
You picked the anime this week, right, Gary?
No, that was Tim.
Oh, Tim, you picked the anime this week.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get to talk a bit, because you've been quiet and I miss your voice.
Well, the anime I chose last week, it was a bit of a roulette. It was between Gunslinger Girl and Black Lagoon, and it ended up just being Gunslinger Girls. Both of them have been ones I've wanted to watch, and yeah, now the basic premise of the show is a government agency has brainwashed and trained young girls into becoming assassins, not assassins, but like bodyguards. A little bit more than that.
Assassins is, I think, a little bit more apt.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it felt like Assassins.
it ends up being there's a line, but they don't really pay attention to the line. It kind of goes both ways. Yeah, and
Just like you, and that's why we love you.
Oh my.
And yeah, that's a loose premise, and because it kind of goes into a lot of different things. But do you want me to just talk about my thits? Like, since I picked it,
Yeah.
do you want me to go last, or?
No, it's up to you.
Okay, well, it's been a while since I've watched like an older anime, and what's really funny about older animes, and I've even noticed this when I watched them when I was younger, but that was kind of just the standard. It's just that there's a lot of reused images, there's a lot of reused animations, and simplified animations, and shots that are like farther away, so like details are smaller, and I'm sure a lot of that is based on saving time and resources. But in an anime being kind of a slower burn, those kind of things show a lot more often, and I found myself getting very distracted by that. Probably at least a couple times an episode. But construction aside, like when things are really ramped up and action's intense, like it's super vivid at the same time. So I really miss that hand-drawn work. Like after watching a bunch of things that are, animated digitally, I really miss that hand-drawn work. Because there are inherent flaws in it, but I love it still.
I want to say the same thing in a way. Most of the old animes, I'll admit, I don't really like the art style. I'm not a big fan of like a lot of the 80s art style and the early 90s.
I feel you.
But I really digged this anime's art style, and it was incredibly detailed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot better than I was expecting, considering the fact it's early anime.
Well, it's not that old. What was it, 2001?
It's 2003.
Yeah, early 2000s. like of all the things that went on in this show, I think the one thing that really kind of stuck with me is that it has this this appeal of adulthood that the girls are feeling, but they're what am I trying to say? It's something that I've actually felt quite often. It's this sense of adulthood versus individualism, and that's kind of what that's that give and take that goes between being a child versus becoming an adult, and it goes into I don't you have this sense of self at a certain point, and then you end up losing it based on certain things. And I feel like some of the indoctrination and brainwashing is a part of that. Like, I don't really want to go as far to say as this show is like an allegory for that kind of thing, but like these kind of things resonated with me. Like you lose a sense of self for the sake of becoming an adult, and a lot of that really showed in here. And you end up becoming kind of a product of everyone else's expectations, and that's what really there's a lot of those effects that happen with these girls. That you have all of these things that you wouldn't see a normal child do, obviously, going through training regimens and shooting random people and worried about making sure that they have kill counts to keep people happy. And like those aren't normal behaviors for anybody really, even as an adult. But when you get caught into an expectation, you find yourself advocating for that cause just so you have the sense of self that you've lost. Like you're finding a replacement for that sense of self.
Don't forget the fact that these girls are also cybernetically enhanced.
Right.
And the process of having to go through these cybernetic implants and their conditioning to be able to handle all of that and to be compliant in their missions has resulted in a loss of a lot of their memories.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are also points where they're...
I thought also, didn't they have like a shorter lifespan as well?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Well, I mean, they're put in front of bullets, so it's almost...
Yeah, but
each of the surgeries
bullets,
that they have to go through takes a huge toll on their growing bodies, and it shortens their lifespans, or so the story says.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it ultimately does make them tools. But it was also kind of ironic that even though they were made into tools, they're handlers, right, is what they were referred to as?
Yes.
Their handlers tried to do what they could to keep them on the cusp of humanity in some form.
And to kind of play on their, the fact that they are still little girls. Like Henrietta would get lots of gifts from her handler, Giose. Triella would get a lot of teddy bears. Yeah. Because she loved teddy bears. Rico, I'm trying to think, what was there anything special that Rico usually would get or something like that? I really don't recall anything.
They didn't really go into it much outside of the one episode that they had where she was kind of the featured character, where she meets that boy in the back alley. Yep. They don't really use her that often outside of her sniping skills. She's the best marksman that they have.
Yeah, that was very cute, by the way. When they were, I think it was Venus, wasn't it? With the scope. Mm-hmm. That was cute.
Yep.
But that was with Henrietta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's one other, the one that they used towards the end as she gets kidnapped instead of the daughter.
Trice. I think her name is Trice.
Klauss.
Yep.
She got access to a whole bunch of books because she loved to read. The others didn't seem to get the same kind of treatment.
Well, it's not the treatment that they got. It's because she wasn't good at any of the other stuff. She wasn't good at the shooting. She couldn't get her marksmanship up. So they kind of just benched her pretty much.
Well, also, her handler left.
Well, he didn't leave. He was going to go to the press, and he was killed for it.
I know, but you know what I mean. But according to her, from what she knows, her handler left, and but then I believe then when she was going through all of these tests, the additional conditioning for it ended up having her forget a lot of that. She doesn't remember where all these books came from now. So she doesn't really remember her old handler, but she kind of gets her own little special treatment by way of those books.
Yeah. She pretty much is now like the groundskeeper for them over there. Like she takes care of, she's growing a garden.
Yep.
She's
And she's also
taking care of the other girls and stuff like that.
But like I said, you saw the episode where she's also then being tested for new prosthetics, new enhancements.
She's essentially the guinea pig.
Yep.
For them, yeah, because they know that there's nothing else they can do with her. They can't put her out in the field.
And they score!
And the scores! And copyrighted.
Damn it, Tim.
But I think it really all came down to the final episode, like in those final seconds when the handlers were talking to each other, and they said, I think something like, it's funny how these young girls can speak 3 languages and use any gun you give them, but they're still out singing Beethoven in the nights, like watching the night sky.
Yeah, while watching a meteor shower.
Yeah, and then they said, but they'll always be. They'll always be cyber. What did he say? Like they'll always be. Not androids.
Cyborgs.
Yeah.
Cyborgs is what they call them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I throughout the whole show, I really just had this looming disdain for the handlers, even if they were doing nice things for the girls. I just had a hatred for them, kind of just right behind everything else that I was experiencing. And with that final line and all of them kind of just like implicatively going with it, like it just makes them all just terrible people. Like these are still people, like these are still kids, but because they're in this regimen and they have this job and they have these enhancements, they are no longer people. And yeah, just because they have one purpose, that's how they view them. And it was that final line that just sealed that hatred I have for them.
I blame the Italian government for that.
They just didn't have their spaghetti.
I think the final episode in general sums up a lot of the thoughts that I had. And it kind of proved to all the girls that, this is essentially their life. Like Angelica is essentially what they're all going to end up being.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she's had so many surgeries, so many implants now that she's essentially just, and like
she's losing who she is.
At the end, I'm assuming she's dead. She dies at the end, just laying in that hospital bed. And the most amazing part about that whole sequence was the fact that right before she dies, she remembers everything. She remembers the dog that she had. She remembers, the Spaghetti Man story. And I think it's her handler, who we saw in the episode that featured Angelica, was the super nice guy, and he gave a shit about her a lot.
He just refused to show it.
No, like he showed it just fine. Like he wrote this whole story, he read to her, but it's the job is what turned him into what he became towards the end of that show.
But when you see, Henrietta is pleading with him to even just go see him or see her in the hospital, and he's like, he's trying to make up excuses to not do it.
Yeah, because he's been with her and he's watched all her memories disappearing, and it pretty much pissed him off. Like, what's the point? Like, he's training her, she learns all this, and then she has one surgery and then she forgets everything. And has to do it all over again. That's when he became this super dick about it. And he lost his girlfriend that he was seeing, who wrote the Spaghetti Man book for him, from the story that he made up. And yeah, like he finally goes to see her after Henrietta pleads with him, and she kind of remembers. She starts remembering him. Like she tells us she remembers the dog, and that's when it kind of clicks with him that she's starting to remember things and story again one last time, and which he does. And you kind of
see her close her eyes, and then we don't know.
Yeah, and you hear it in his voice that once he realizes that she's finally died, the impact that it has on him, because he, as badly as he treated her towards the end, he still gave a shit about her because it's essentially like a daughter to him, and watching her die.
Can I give you a spoiler, Garri?
Please.
It's not quite a spoiler, but there is actually a season 2.
Yeah, I know, which
she's in it
7 years later.
Well, actually, only 4 years later, but
Oh, didn't it come out in 2008?
yeah, and this came out in 2003, 2004.
Oh, okay, yeah. Still a long time.
Well, look how long it took to get the second season of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
That's because they weren't
was 4
expecting it
years.
to be successful.
Well, they probably didn't think this was going to be successful.
And honestly, like I said, I've watched this twice now. I watched it initially probably about 6 months ago when it first came out on Netflix. And I had to rewatch it again because there was a lot of stuff that was happening in it. And I don't know, it was one of those, it's got an interesting storyline. But when you think about what they're actually doing in this anime, it's disgusting. The fact that they're using these orphan girls to do their dirty work in a covert government organization. They're basically taking out their government rivals, the Republican faction, who are also harboring terrorist actions as well. So it's a whole messed up story.
Yeah, that's also one of the things that bothered me about the story in this is like there wasn't a clear cut.
Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy?
Yeah, like they had the Republic, which is fine, and I was like, okay, so they're up against this Republic who's trying to overthrow the government and all that, but they never really go too far with it. Like they had those two bomb makers, the woman and the guy, who for some reason decide to help the little girls, not knowing obviously who they really are.
Well, they also didn't want to help the Republic faction either. I mean, they were, contemplating not even delivering the bomb or delivering a dud at one point because they really didn't agree with their politics either.
Yeah, but
so
it
really
it just doesn't. It doesn't really lead to anything. Like they have that assault on that manor where they rescue what is it, Klauss? And then like it still doesn't solve anything. Because it's just a group
Klauss.
that's part of the Republic.
Yeah, they rescued me. back like when I was a young
every episode is doing its own thing.
Wait, Gary, what did you just say, Klaus?
I said, yeah, they rescued me back when I was a young assassin girl.
See, now we got on record. It's confirmed. Carry on, Gary.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, there just wasn't a clear-cut point to what was going on. Like every episode just felt like a story with real direction.
And I think with something like this, it's kind of telling as to what the point was. Like you have a bunch of stuff going on, and they're all kind of just like little pieces of a greater puzzle. And it really just it's not necessarily that there is a good or bad person in this. It's that either side, they're just terrible people using whatever terrible means they have to overthrow the other. So it's not about any one side being good or bad. You're only getting one side of the story, of course, because you're getting this one. But
History is written by the victors.
yeah, you're
Anime is written by a lot of weird people.
yeah.
And that we watch.
Yes.
But I think mostly the point is that there's a group of adults who are mistreating and misusing children for their own good. And even though there are a lot of bad things going on the other side, I feel like with a perspective like this, the point is that this side is the worst side. Just because, I mean, both sides are killing, but one side is using little kids to do it for them.
Little kids that had no future. They gave them a reason to live.
Oh my god. You know, there are other ways to give people a reason, Gary. There are other ways to do that besides shortening their life and putting a gun in their hand.
I mean, in their point of view, it's a win-win situation.
But
Yeah,
what
in their
little
point of
girl
view, sure.
doesn't dream about becoming an international assassin? Come on.
Well, I want to be a princess.
I'm just
or an
saying.
assassin. Or a princess assassin.
When you control their environment, you control their way of thinking and even what they remember, you can make anyone believe what you want them to believe.
You should go ask Crystal what
can-
she dreamed when she was a little girl. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe you
we've
learned
got,
something.
we'll ask, yeah, go.
Crystal, when you were a little girl, did you dream about becoming an assassin?
Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes.
What did you dream about becoming?
Please say yes.
What were they, like 8, 9, 10?
She wanted to be Care Bear, didn't she?
Nothing?
We'll find out soon.
Let's just imagine she said yes, she wanted to be an assassin.
She was playing the YOLO childhood.
Okay. Well, you know, we will also play YOLOs. Assassins. So.
Oh my god.
Confirmed.
This is how
I
you
will say
control...
I thoroughly enjoyed the music in this anime.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
On that note, Gary, I think you should watch Noir for that very reason.
Oh my god, you and Noir.
Dude, seriously, watch it.
Well, you know,
Seen it.
Tim, next time you come
about
round,
that.
you can say it, you can suggest it.
There you go.
I suggested it to Neil, or excuse me, I just suggested it to Chris when we first started, way back when.
Well, now you can force us to suggest it.
I'm going to force you to suggest it, okay? I'll force you subjectively.
Just use the safe word, carrot.
Kakarot? Okay.
Oh my god.
Ketchup?
Vegeta.
Vegeta.
I can't.
Clear him.
Anytime you mention ketchup, you know Alfonso's got to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like there should be a ketchup pie somewhere.
I'm sure it exists.
Oh, an anime about 2 young female assassins? Jeez, what are you trying to tell me, Tim?
What?
That's what Noir is about. Are you trying to tell me that I was correct in my statement?
Did you have to look it up?
Yeah.
I thought you said you've seen it.
Make sure that I've seen it. I haven't
So
seen
have
it.
you? You haven't seen it.
You have to Google it.
You lied to me.
I've
You
seen
lied
it.
to my face.
I've seen it, Tim. 1 second.
When did I lie to you? I said I may have seen it.
I asked you if you've seen it, and you said yeah. So then you went and looked.
Well, technically, I guess he
said I've
hasn't
seen it.
lied. You've seen it now.
Maybe I have.
We have it on record now, Gary. We can go
Yeah.
back and
I'll
check.
have to watch some episodes, but damn, look, 2 young female girl assassins. I think you're trying to tell us something.
The one is over 18, so.
Oh, okay.
So
But the
that's
other
why
one
Gary
is in a
didn't
similar
watch it.
situation. Like, I think she's 16, I think, and she is in that similar like brainwashed phase and trained assassin.
You're in a brainwash phase and a young assassin.
I think we need to be weary of Tim because he's recommending a lot of brainwashing animes.
Oh yeah,
With
coming from
female
the guy who
assassins.
says, "Come visit me. Join my cult."
I never ever said cold.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah,
calls it community.
community.
And we'll watch Bible Black.
Yeah.
Ew.
Nobody just
He'll- We'll get-
watches Bible Black, okay?
We'll get strapped into chairs and have those like pin things in our eyes to keep them open. We're not going to get away from this indoctrination.
Wait, so we're going over on a Friday night?
Oh my god.
No, it's probably going to be midweek because tickets are cheaper.
But you don't want pins on your eyes on a Wednesday. That's annoying for the next day. It's got to be a Friday.
I feel like
it's a Friday
pins
thing.
in your eyes is annoying any day.
It's a Friday thing.
Just say, why is this a Friday thing? What are we getting into?
And why
now?
do you know that, Ben?
Yeah, what? You worried about me, Garri? Suggesting animes? You should be worried about Ben.
I've been worried about Ben for a long time.
Oh, you
I
can't.
don't know what's happening.
So yeah, those Gunslinger girls.
Yeah.
Are we going to give it scores? Are we going to rate it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
Klauss, you rate it first.
All right. Well, like I said, it's I like the fact that it's fully hand drawn art style. Like I said, it does show its age, being it's 15 years old, but it has some interesting storytelling mechanics. I'm not a big fan of the actual story itself, so with that, I'm gonna probably give it a 6.5.
Okay. Garri?
Yes. I also thoroughly enjoyed the animation. I thought it was pretty good, actually. As a whole, I thought the story was very hit and miss. I like the personal stories, but I feel like the overall story was lacking. I did very much love the music, so I'm gonna go with a 7.
Alfonso, Alfonso.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so.
Okay.
We just told you the whole story, dude.
Yeah.
No. You telling me if you watch it, it's two different things. Okay?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So based on what we've told you, what would you give it?
Based on what you told me, I'm gonna give it a 7. But that might change when I watch it myself. But as of right now, it will be a 7.
You let us know if it changes.
I will.
Hashtag.
I would give it a 6.5 just because I love the artwork. I love the music soundtrack, but the story confused my simple brain, so 6.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I'm gonna follow suit with that. As much as I like certain parts about it, there were a lot of parts that were very meh. And one thing apart from all the other things we've brought up, one thing I want to bring up is that while the voice actors themselves were good, one thing that irritated me about that anime, and kind of like some of the older animes as well, is that everybody is basically whispering the whole time.
Yeah.
And that gets frustrating. There's not much emphatic expression. There's not much anything. Well, guys, we're in a war zone. We need to talk like this.
I know the way this series was. I think it's more fitting.
Yeah.
It's more espionage. It's more downplayed. They're not trying to actually be emphatic about things. So I think it fits here. But I know what you're talking about. There are certain series where they should be a little bit more rambunctious and out there with the way they're saying things.
Right.
More variance in volume.
I mean, action sequences and things for sure. I mean, them just sitting in their rooms talking about violin. That's going to be a very docile situation. So it makes sense then. Sitting at a dinner table, it makes sense then. But when they're in a gunfight, no, that doesn't make sense. When they're doing regiment stuff, that doesn't make sense. There are plenty of points where there would have been, yeah. It was a consistency thing, and I feel like it was something kind of like what The Matrix did, where everyone's very, quiet, and I think it was a creative decision, but it's a thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to do 6.5 as well.
I think this is the closest spread we've had on any anime that we've done.
Yeah.
Only a
true.
0.5 difference.
Crazy.
That's scary.
What does that mean?
It means
It means we're
Does
weird.
that mean that we're all getting indoctrinated?
yeah, we're all
And
part
we're
of
all-
Garri's community.
We're all going to be
One of
trained
us. One of us.
into becoming government assassins.
Well, to be fair,
Yes.
a lot of us are video game reviewers, and Klauss likes video games. As we all know from the internet, that video game reviewers all have the same mindset. Nobody has unique ideas. And,
I don't know. I don't think like Garri does.
yeah, but we
Well,
all
Garri
have
doesn't like video games, though.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's a lie.
Garri doesn't like video games, so
I don't want to start a community.
You don't think you want to start a community, but you do.
Why? What makes you say that? What signs? What telltale signs are there?
don't bring
Oh,
Telltale up.
man,
That's
don't
too
do that.
early. too soon.
Hashtag too soon.
Anyway, who's picking the anime this week? We should have decided this before we started the podcast. But like last
I
week,
want to pick.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Fonzie, what you got?
Okay, so my recommendation for this week. Now, this anime is only about like a week old. Came out September 14th.
Oh, shit.
I watched it when I was down in Panama. It only had 9 episodes, but got to rewatch it based off of my, situation I was going through. But it is called The Dragon's Prince. It's on Netflix.
let me just
all I'm
check
gonna
British
say-
Netflix, in case, you know.
All I'm going to say is that it has to do with humans, elves, and dragons. If you like,
I like all of those things.
Ew, humans? Gross.
I mean, I am a
it's
human,
from the
so...
people. It's from the people who made Avatar: The Last Bender.
It's not an anime, man.
Oh, God, Garri, do not interrupt me. Let me
Oh, wait.
finish.
You know,
And if you like Game of Thrones, it does have a Game of Thrones theme to it.
two of the shows that I've heard of but never watched.
It
Really?
has
You
lots
never
of
seen
wieners?
Avatar?
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I've never watched Avatar. You talk about Dragon Pilot.
No.
No, it's actually one
Dragon
called The
Prince.
Dragon Prince.
Yeah,
Damn you,
Dragon Prince.
Netflix. That was the first thing that popped up. I was excited, I think.
So, okay, so this isn't anime?
I would say it's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon, but from watching it, it feels like an anime.
So did Avatar.
Technically,
It's
it's not
created
anime.
by Aaron Ahas and Justin Richmond. I've got the page up for those who are interested. I'll put it in the notes here.
American epic fantasy adventure.
Would that disqualify it from being reviewed on our show?
I'm fine with it. So
Technically, we never really discussed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
we'll
fine
let it
with it.
slide this week, but I think that's it.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want to choose that, I have a different one I could pick.
Well, this is 9 episodes. Either way. The other one you have, is that one a short one too?
The other
It's One Piece.
No.
I can do that in a week.
The other
can
one's
do that.
only
I can do
12
that
episodes. It's the other one's only 12 episodes. Is How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
That
On
sounds more
Crunchyroll.
anime.
I've heard of that one.
That is
Bless
definitely
you.
anime.
It's mostly funny than it's mixed. It's half comedy, half action. But yeah, it's I find it to be good.
Okay, what I want to say is, How to Summon the Demon, not the Demon Lord, is the anime for the week. But if you can watch Dragon Prince before the end of the week as well, then we'll talk about it. That sound fair?
Okay. That sounds good.
Fair enough.
There is
Okay.
a sub and a dub. Which would you recommend? The sub or the dub?
I would recommend a dub for yeah.
Okay. Actually, this is only 9 episodes.
No, it was 12.
that's
See,
because
I
it's
have
going.
Unless the dub.
I don't
is
think it's
behind.
finished yet. I think it's a semi-dub.
Oh yeah, the sub is at 12, and the dub
Technically,
is
we
at
won't
9.
even be able to finish it.
That's fine. So we've got our anime for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll wrap up this episode. Oh no, we've got Bleach to talk about first, haven't we? Actually, the Bleach live action movie, which is on Netflix, which was actually made in Japan and aired there a few months ago. So it's not an American produced live action movie like shitty real life bull. Which I still prefer the big green dub over the live action Dragon Ball. And I've heard the Avatar Last Bender movie was not that good. So, the live action Bleach, I was really impressed by it, actually. There was only a few things that annoyed me, which for a live action was good.
The fact that they had to squeeze in the full season in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They did it all right, but they
for me, I
really
think
did
it was just one of the actor choices that pissed me. I didn't like Chad. I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't look like that's not what I pictured Chad to be.
I mean, it kind of looked a little bit like Chad, but it didn't have enough of the
Russian aspect.
Chad in him,
Yeah.
though. What wasn't he actually South American?
I can't remember. I think it was actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think his grandfather was like from South America or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. I mean, I could see it a little bit.
Yeah.
Uryu was a little bit of a weird pick, I thought.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't mind him too much so, but the only thing I disliked about him was his bow, which literally just looked like a bow with blue glow After Effects put on it.
It's like something from Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
It's a relic bow +1.
Yeah, it did look like that. It's
No. Okay, my biggest disappointment with the live action Bleach movie was the Orihime didn't have big enough boobs.
well, she didn't really. She had biggish boobs at the start, but they grew. Yeah, but in the defense of the show, her boobs didn't really get bigger until like he came back from Soul Society. They were kind of covered up the first season.
Yeah, but they weren't big enough. And she didn't have orange hair.
Yeah, I must admit, the orange hair was a bit annoying because I like that. It was a staple. The same with Ichigo. I don't think his hair was.
His was a very it was a bleached brown blonde kind of deal. So I mean, it was orangish. I suppose they didn't want to go, bright orange.
I mean,
but
they gave Renji a stupid hairstyle, so they could have gone full anime with the others.
They did go full anime with Renji.
Yeah, with his
and
weird,
even with Byakuya.
who didn't look pretty enough.
No, he didn't
needs
look
to be
pretty
like
enough.
a sexy sex boy.
Oh my god.
No, he really does. That's what his character was. His character was like this, like princely,
super pretty boy.
Yeah, super pretty boy. And then the live action made him look like some sort of ruffian. It just was not him.
I mean, the Renji casting wasn't terrible though.
No, he was
But
good.
like I said, the hair was a little bit.
They tried to make
wish
it like his anime, but then realized it's impossible to do it, and then just gave up halfway.
And it wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't as kind of spiky pineapple-y looking in the back.
Yeah, it wasn't
But
cloud.
But I mean, like I said, we knew who it was.
Yeah, you knew who all they were, who all of them were.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it took a little bit to like, really, that's Orihime? Like I said, where's the orange hair?
Yeah.
But
she looked a bit like her friend I can never remember the name of.
the one that that was another one that was a little bit problematic. Tatsuki, wasn't it?
Yeah. Who was the
Because
tomboy?
they had Tatsuki with a bob cut.
Yeah.
And then they had Orihime with medium to long length hair. It wasn't super long like she had in the anime.
Yeah.
But story wise, I thought they did a decent job with the CG hollows.
The Hollows, I think, was where they spent all their budget.
Yeah. The sword fighting was pretty good.
Oh yes.
I enjoyed the fight scenes. That was very enjoyable. The script was pretty well written. They had some really good dialogue especially between Rukia and Ichigo.
Oh yeah, they even had the little Chapper. I think the Chapper bunny diagrams that she does in the anime.
Yeah,
was really
that
good.
was hilarious. I guess actually Ichigo's sisters were kind of miscast a little bit as well.
Yeah, I didn't think his one. I knew one of his sisters, Yuzu, was really young, but I felt the other one was a bit older than what she looked like.
Yeah, they looked like they were about a year different, but I mean, in the anime, they look like about 3 years different.
Well, it's more than
But
that.
maybe it's
about,
just
like 7 or 8 years difference because one of them
No.
starts going to Ichigo's school.
Well,
So,
I think it should be right in between.
Yeah.
The youngest should be, and Ichigo, like I said, the middle one should be Karen. Should be right in the
Yeah.
middle between the two, I think. But,
yeah, but she looks
don't
like
know.
she's 1 year older than the youngest one.
Yeah.
Really.
but maybe it's just
Yeah.
that they just look that way. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Then again, Ichigo's only 15.
Yeah. That's why I thought Karen was like 9, 10.
Yeah, she did look about 9, and then Yuzu looked like about 8 or 7.
Yeah.
But also, his dad didn't have enough scruffy enough beard.
Yes, he needed more scruffy beards.
I
And he needed
did.
more like emotionalness as well.
Yeah, he wasn't as flamboyant and over the top.
Yeah, because in the anime, it was like, "Oh no, my wife, she passed away too young," and started banging the wall, and then starts kicking Ichigo's ass anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they did have a little bit of
Yeah.
throwback to the fight scenes that they would have between
Yeah.
Ichigo and Issin, but I mean, it wasn't very highly done.
No.
I think where they really nailed it, Urahara.
Oh yes.
They did an amazing job with casting Urahara.
Yeah. Although it would have been
I
better
loved
for you, to be honest. You were cool. Yeah.
No, I like that they went with a red coat,
Yes.
a burgundy overcoat with the green pajamas. I thought that looked really good, and it still had the signature hat.
Yeah. And I
And
think
he
the
was-
clogs.
I don't remember seeing those, but yeah, for the most part, they a lot of it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
As far as what the actual story arc they told, like I said, it was basically the first season, from when Ichigo got the powers to when he gave up the powers.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed the show Bleach, and you have Netflix, go give this a watch. I think you would enjoy it.
And drink your milk.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing.
Yeah, that's the song that it's like
Bring the milk.
It's supposed to be a mix between number one and the theme song that plays, the Japanese version. So
Milk is here.
milk is here, drink your milk.
I was like, why are they talking about milk?
Yeah, I was saying, they find like this. Yeah, when they were fighting the Hollow for the first time, and Ichigo gets his sword out, it was like, okay, I'm like,
Milk
number
is
one's
here!
playing, right? Number one's gonna play. Number one, like, drink your milk. Milk is here. Drink
It's like,
your milk.
is Mr. T coming out? Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
Treat your mama right.
But
Drink your milk.
I'm glad I watched it. I hope that they come out with another one where they go with the Soul Society arc.
Yeah, though they don't know if they've got another one coming, so that's why they changed the ending a little bit compared to the original, because they wanted like a actual ending rather than leaving it with cliffhanger in case there wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I
Take
can see
note,
them.
Super Mario Brothers.
I can see them, being able to make the way they ended this
Yeah.
work. Still, they'll
They could
still
easily make it work, but I'm just saying that's why they did it, just in case. Which is
because
smart.
didn't in the anime Ichigo does lose his powers at some point.
Yeah, he loses it later. Loses it then, actually, doesn't he?
Later on, I thought it was
he
after the
loses
Soul
it then.
Society arc, wasn't it?
Remember, because cuts his chain. That's why he doesn't expect him to turn up.
Okay, that's right. Like it's been so long
oh,
since
yeah.
I've actually watched the entirety of Bleach. So
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember myself. He cuts the Renji fights it. In fact, it happens. I think he breaks Renji's weapon in the anime too, and then they leave. And just before they leave, Biker attacks him and cuts his chain, which gets rid of his soul.
Well, no, actually, the sword that gets broken in the anime is Ichigo's sword.
Okay.
So they switched up whose sword gets destroyed because they needed this sword to make this change.
Yeah.
For Rukia to get her powers back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like I said, they cut out a little bit of the story building and the the character growth stuff.
Which, to be fair, it wasn't too bad because you get a lot more character growth in the Soul Society if they do it.
Yeah, I mean, you do get some hints that Chad and Inoue are going to be doing something because Urahara is talking with them as they're watching Ichigo and Rukia train. Yeah. So you sense something in the fact
Chad's
that
going something with Chad because he blocks that massive sign.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that they could sense that Ichigo was there.
Yeah.
During that fight scene, so that fight scene was amazing.
Oh yes.
So yeah, strongly recommend. I thought it was a decent adaptation. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was overall pretty well done. So go watch it, guys.
What would you give
also
it out of 10?
Sponsor us, Netflix. I'd probably give it an 8.
I'd give it a 34D out of 50 Gs. I don't know. No, I'd give it 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. And I like the nods to the actual anime and drinking milk. I actually like that song. It was pretty good. As cheesy as it sounds, it was actually decent.
Yeah, the song was fine. It was just cheesy lyrics.
Yeah. Drinking milk. Milk is here. So we'll end the podcast with drinking milk. Because I feel like that's how we should end it. So who wants to give shout outs first? We'll go with Garri. Because I'm looking at him.
You're looking at me through my camera? Did you hack my laptop camera, Ben?
Hashtag Chille hacks.
Hashtag Chille hacks.
Good. Am I going to be falling through the floor soon or getting stuck in the wall? Oh man,
that is a hashtag, by the way. You can do it now. Hashtag Chille hacks, and if you do that, you've got a chance to win a mount in Final Fantasy 14. Hashtag Chille hacks.
Oh my god, it's fantastic.
Or
shout
hashtag
outs.
Chille hats.
Shout outs to you guys for having me on. Shout out to Fonzie. I hope everything goes well for you in the future, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us in these difficult times. But I hope everything ends up well for you, man.
I knew if I came on, you guys would lift my spirits. Yeah, definitely did so. So I appreciate it.
I'm glad to hear. Tim, you're just an asshole to me. I don't even want to say anything.
That's all you need. I'm good. Feel fulfilled.
Ben, I'll never forgive you for Chaozu counting. And Klauss, well, you're just a chill guy, so I got no hard feelings.
Aw.
Must be nice.
Garri likes me, even though I constantly rip on him.
That's fine. You get a lot of freebies.
Ooh, hot. Oh my.
But yeah, that's shout outs. You can reach me at Gagwaush, that's Gaglaush, on Twitter and also on Instagram, where you can see the random ass pictures I post.
From his cult.
Community, Klauss. Community.
Thank you, Ben.
No problem.
I'll even have a accounting section for people who don't know how to count.
Yay!
Use your hands. 101.
Tim is going to be the teacher.
Sweet, I can finally be a teacher. Oh god. Can't do this.
Tim, shout outs, please continue.
Oh my god. Oh, Gary for calling me an asshole.
One
Fonzie for
second,
being.
I just thought of the thing I was going to say. Is it going to be the centre for kids who can't count good and who want to learn how to other do stuff good too?
Yeah, I don't know what that acronym is, but I'm gonna go with it.
It's Zoolander, remember? Centre for kids who can't read good and who want to learn to do other good stuff too.
Oh yeah.
References.
It's been a while.
What is that going to be, a center for ants or something?
This is how you get ants.
Anyway, go on, Tim. Sorry.
Fonzie for being bomb, and good luck with your endeavors. We're here for you. You do great.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Ben for starting the Chaozu counter.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my god! And
You've broken a Tim.
I can't do it. Yeah, I have a low threshold. Oh god.
Okay, Klauss, while Tim's breaking up, you say some shout outs.
Oh Jesus.
We'll let Tim kind of regain his composure. Come on, be professional here, man.
Just
I
count
don't know
to
what that
10.
means. Okay. Pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, thumb.
Now you've broken the rest of us. Congratulations. Were you able? Did you want to finish then?
To Klauss for being just an upstanding character and inviting me also to that anime thing next year.
Anime Detour.
Detour.
Minnesota,
I
right?
kept wanting to say Depot. I really am
Well,
uncultured swine.
it could be a depot for all we know. I don't know. I live in England.
So I look forward to that. That's merch. That'd be awesome. I'll
It
take
is a
any
lot of
reason to
fun.
leave.
And where can they find you?
They just have to turn around. No, you can find me on social media. Tim Borelli, all of it. If you want to find me on PSN, it's just Boss Snake. One word, 3 S's, no caps.
But remember to add
just
a
let me know
note
who you
saying
are.
who you are.
Yeah, just let me know where you got the request, because I get weird invites from weird people, like people
Garri.
named Gagalosh and
Chille.
You say that, but you don't realize that all those invites are from me.
you have a lot of time on your hands to make extra accounts.
I do, because one day you're going to say yes, and I'm going to send you pee-pee pictures.
You won't do that to me normally.
But they
so
won't
when
be
I
in
say,
mine.
I just want to say that when I said you have a lot of time on your hands, I think that means something different now.
Okay.
You have
Oh my!
you have like 10 points of time on your hands.
Is that another
You can
counting
count.
joke, you asshole?
It was a really bad one, but yeah.
You can count on it.
Well, it sounds like with
You can
Gary, you
count
can
on it.
count to 11 now.
You turn it up to 11. He's got the one in the middle. Is that what you're saying?
I hate you guys.
You know, if you didn't wear socks, you could double your odds.
You can go to 21.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, love you, Gary. Oh my god. Shout out to Gary for dealing with our shit all the time.
Yeah, truth. All right, I suppose it's my turn now. Breathe. Shout out to you characters for having me back on. I guess I did miss you guys the last couple of weeks, so thank you, and glad to be back. Shout out to Gary for, like I said, for putting up with our shit. You are a pretty awesome guy, so cheers to that. Shout out to Tim. Like I said, we do need to hang out sometime, and like I said, Detour would be an amazing time. So it's in March 29th through the 31st. So if you're in the Minneapolis area that time, go check them out. It actually is a really fun time. Shout out to Fonzie for being one of the toughest SOBs that I know, for being able to deal with the shit that he deals with. So, you are one hell of a guy for being able to put up with that. So cheers to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shout out to, of course, Ben, the Chille dog, for just being chilly, because that's one of the most amazing things you can be.
When you say that, I just
thank
imagine
you.
Ben between two buns. And I think that's enough for me. That's just all I need. I'm good now.
You want Ben between two buns, huh?
Yeah. That's all I need.
And shout out to everybody listening to this. If you're still listening, that is. If maybe you stopped a long time ago, and I wouldn't blame you for that. But if you are still listening, thank you so much for listening to us ramble on about anime. And if you want to follow me, you can catch me out on Twitter at PHXDN_KLAUSS. Tweet a lot about Final Fantasy stuff and about our other podcast, Phoenix Down Radio, which you can find at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. Shameless plug.
Alfonso?
Shout out to you guys. I appreciate all the encouraging words you gave me in this podcast. It truly means the world to me. I know I'll beat this condition that I'm dealing with. Shout out to all the listeners, all the followers. Klauss, it's good to have you back. I missed you. Ben, you're still a god to me in my eyes. Even though Shannon made y'all all number one, you're still number one in my book.
Well, thank you, man.
Tim, I love this new back-to-back, constantly laughing because of the Ben joke with the whole counting Garri thing. That's just classic to me. Garri, I love you, but you don't love video games. You shouldn't be working for your good video game podcast, video game review. Count and count numbers with him. Just go to Sesame Street. That should be your new career. Come on, just go ahead and do it.
Damn.
Oh my god. That was out for blood.
It's all with love, Garri. It's all with love. Come on.
No, there is no love there.
There's no love.
That's just pure savage brutality.
I thought that's what you wanted for love.
Fatality.
Friendship.
I think it's a great place. You get to count numbers. You get to play with puppets on your own time. No?
I was nice to you, Fonzie. Next week, that's going to change.
Is that what, if Garri was in the My Hero Academia universe, would that be like his mentor? The count from...
Sounds hot.
I'd ship it.
That's it. I'm going to have to go write down some material.
His quirk would be counting.
I really want to Photoshop this picture, Garri. I think you've done something terrible.
You bastard.
I want to say
I'm going to put Kazuma Kiryu's face on this thing.
I want to say terribly beautiful. Anyway, Alfonso, have you got any more shout-outs?
Just, again, to listeners, followers, you guys, this again, thank you for all the encouraging words. It truly helps. And, yeah, really lift up my spirit. So, once again, just thank you.
Okay, well, I want to shout out to Tim. Thank you for being on. You're awesome. A shout out to Klauss from PhoenixDownRadio.com. The home of Phoenix Down Radio and Moogle Go Round Radio. It's always a pleasure to record with you, mate. A shout out to Alfonso. You're the number one fan in my eye, and I'm always happy to have you on the show. And I hope we're all here to cheer you on no matter what. Take our spirit bomb energy of happiness and counting.
You can count on us like fingers.
You're my number one fan.
Why do I breathe?
And Garri, I want to say thank you for that awesome keychain you sent me. It is lovely, and I like Hildebrand, so thank you.
Yeah, I want it back.
Do you have a return policy? Will you pay for shipping?
You're welcome, man. You're welcome.
So thank you for the Hildebrand keychain. I put it on my keys as soon as I got it. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Does it play the theme?
It does in my head. So
Yeah, that's something else.
Also, I'd like to shout out to Spotify for adding us to the podcast to Spotify. I can't believe we're on Spotify. I mean, to me, that's a big deal. So, yeah, you can now listen to us on Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, and now Spotify. We're on every earlobe hearing program. You now can hear us in multiple different locations.
Please sponsor us.
Please sponsor us, Crunchyroll. So
And Funimation.
and
And Netflix.
and Nando's. But yeah, seriously. So now, as I said last week, I'm gonna end each episode. Oh, actually, no, point. I'm gonna end each episode with a quote from the Big Green Dub. So this week's episode's quote shall be from Turles when he has captured Gohan, you know, after Big Green has been defeated, and he realizes he can't beat Goku on his own. He needs help. So he says, "Now Gohan, I'm gonna use this ball of fire." Gohan, don't look at the ball of fire! There we go. Don't look at the ball of fire. That's my tip of the week. And Bardock is the greatest scientist.
That is a great tip. I mean, Tim, you should avoid that and go look in the sun.
You give a tip every day, every week. Nice.
Yeah.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Now I want my magic stick!